pivot it, and you use the word pivot. I'll pivot us slightly, but obviously still focused on digital skills. But to the question of personalized evidence and how the importance of that, and how does someone prove that they, to an employer, that they have these skills?
It's another one of the really important things that we're looking at within the vet system. Obviously, qualifications are the sort of the gold badge to say you are competent, proficient in a variety of things. But there are also lots of other things as well. Again, because digital is utilized in lots of different ways, a qualification is generally made up of quite a large suite of skill sets, or as they're called these days at the moment, competencies. A lot of those competencies may not be relevant in specific applications, so they're almost redundant. So a lot of people will only sort of do part qualifications, and they need to be recognised. We're looking at various options. The current flavour of the month is sort of digital badging, and to be able to have an individual portfolio, if you like, of the things that you've done, badged in a way that's easily understood, has a level of assurance or accreditation behind it, has a common language behind it, if you like. So when I see this badge and it says that, I know this is, the skills, capabilities that the person has. Qualifications, in my mind, tend to or should be focused primarily on the minimum core requirements of the thing we're talking about. That's obviously an important part, but only part of it. And then we have, what wraps around the individual to make them a whole employee. You've got those vendor certifications I talked about, potentially micro-credentials from potentially completely unrelated to digital skill sets, but you might have to have a degree of understanding of business management to be able to employ the digital skills that you have. So you might have not full qualifications, you might not have an MBA, but you might be able to pick up micro-credentials out of the MBA, which proves that you have a knowledge and a competence and an understanding of how all these things tie together. So you've got that sort of, if you want to call it a digital passport that you own, that has a description of the skills that you've generated and the like. And it's something I know I'm preaching to the converted here, but the next steps is then having that validation of the proficiency of the person applying those skills in the workplace. As I said before, anybody can go and do a course, get a badge that certifies them in something, but can they actually apply that in the workforce? And I think that's where that next step that ties into lifelong learning, your own digital passport, where the validation of someone's experiences are just as important as what their, skills developed through training. Again, digital is a marvelous example of that. The amount of highly successful CEO and founders who haven't got university degrees, who potentially dropped out early, but because they had a passion, they learnt by themselves, they learnt by doing, not by learning, so to speak, right. And became very successful. And digital's just set up for that. There is a huge place for institutionalized training, and people should not shy away from that. But there's also how to harness those technical skills in different work environments that are not course. That's life experience and just personal aptitude.
And yeah, agreed, totally agreed. And ultimately, these skills passports have to provide that framework, a framework or a range of frameworks that provide context and as you said, give some sense to the proficiency. Is it
and a validation?
Right.
There can be certain things that don't particularly need validation. They're just expressions of past experiences and that kind of thing. But others need a more national level assurance benchmark, so people can understand that this is an apple and that's an apple.
Right, makes sense. Let's talk a little bit about equity and how do we ensure that we're bringing everyone, again, referring back to that stat of 87% of jobs today requiring digital skills. We know that's only going to increase. So how do we ensure that we're bringing everyone along and giving the entire Australian population an opportunity to make sure that that they don't miss this digital boat?
I sound a bit like a broken record because, again, digital is perfect for this. Digital has the ability to be employed across everybody. Anybody can, competently use digital tools and that kind of thing, regardless of who they are, where they come from, what their strengths, regardless. If they have the right amount of, understanding, if people can gain support and tools which, demystify the digital world and actually put things simply to people to give them informed choices of where they go. You can work remotely. You can be in a little bit past the middle of nowhere. And as long as you've got some form of internet connection, you can be as productive as if you were sitting in the middle of New York. So the range of opportunities for everybody in digital is almost endless.